Hey, data streamer.
Hey, Gio, what's up?
What if reality itself was for sale? When VR, AR, and algorithms shape what we see, reality stops being neutral. Well, it becomes a product. But who decides which version of reality we get and who's making money from it?
Yeah, it's it, it's quite a loaded question. It's pretty yeah. There's like several questions or several ideas in this idea. I mean, we've talked about we've talked about things that like this before. It's quite a so we decided this is so we had this idea before about like how these products influence people's lives and stuff like that because you're talking about like AR, VR algorithms, all this stuff, with this topic. And yeah, I mean, if you somehow like take modern social media for example, how it like kind of like take over people's lives. People are like completely, like they're like it turns into their reality. We already see this happening sometimes with some
Yeah.
people and how they treat social media. Now you take it one step further where it's like, VR, AR, whatever, and then suddenly it's like it's not just text on the screen. Now you're like walking in it, and so it suddenly turns into your reality somehow. But then you gotta pay to do something, enter somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the real difference between that and the real world where you have to pay to enter a theme park or whatever?
Well,
Oh, I wonder.
th- I mean, so, okay, the first payment is, of course, the VR headset.
Yeah,
But of course, those things are getting cheaper and they are getting better.
yeah,
Like on the time, like I think I already saw like headsets for that the resolution is already 4K.
yeah,
So imagine that we will go to a point that the headset will be 8K,
yeah,
1.6K, and
yeah,
I mean 16K, and then 32K.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then it'll be like more beautiful than real life even.
yeah.
And yeah, as you mentioned, like especially the younger generations who are growing up with shorts, TikTok and stuff,
Yeah.
who are addicted to doom scrolling.
Oh yeah. Oh, we talked about
Imagine
that before.
that Yeah,
Yeah,
imagine if that because the doom scrolling is like it'll give you a certain hit of dopamine, right? And
yeah,
the selection of algorithm,
yeah.
but combine it with like VR that
What
you are in your doom scrolling,
what
you are
does
standing in your doom scrolling.
yeah, what does VR doom scrolling look like?
Oh
What is
lord,
going on there? Like, are you
you
like
are yeah
running around? What
you
is
are
this?
standing in your you're
Uh,
standing in your content. The
how?
algorithm is providing you, and then but then
like,
it switches every time, like
man,
every yeah.
that sounds pretty insane. Yeah, yeah. I really wonder what that looks like. Do VR doom scrolling? That would be crazy. But yeah, I mean, there is a thing with like there is a trend indeed of like kind of like going totally overboard with the behavior with with your content or whatever and just like letting it completely take over. I mean, we've seen that in the past, but sparingly, not as bad as this. I mean, in the past, like the worst people to have this in the past would have been like MMO players, World of Warcraft players, whatever. They could ruin their entire lives over the game. That was probably the first time people recognized that people could actually, get destroyed by these virtual worlds when
Oh
MMOs
yeah.
came around and people got addicted to MMOs, like EverQuest being
Mm.
the first one that really gained mass, mass consciousness because of that. It used to be called like, it just it at the time when EverQuest was the main MMO, people would just call it like a drug or something like that. Like it's completely addicting, that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
like that was the first time we experienced this virtual world algorithm reality bending whatever thing that we're talking about now, and people were not really ready for it, but it was like kind of limited. But yeah,
Mhm.
as technology improves, it becomes a lot worse. And also, you had to pay for the game, and you had to pay monthly to play the game. EverQuest.
Yeah.
EverQuest is like from came out in like 1999. in 1998, 1999. You had to pay monthly to play the game, and you have to buy the game, of course.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's these virtual worlds were already being sold and marketed since 30 years ago. You know, like it's not new.
But we shouldn't forget that Meta actually bought like the Oculus Rift, I think.
Yeah, Oculus. They bought the Oculus Rift. Yeah.
But the thing is, like apps, so Facebook and Instagram in this case, they are already for free.
Yeah.
In general, for your phone, right?
Yeah, but they are free, but the general like idea is that they're free because they get our data. But even that is going away, by the way. Did you see that you have to pay for Meta now? You have to pay for Facebook. Well, I have to. You don't have to, but you can. You have the option now to pay for Facebook with no ads now.
Oh, okay.
Since like a few months, so that's coming. That kind of stuff is coming.
But where I wanted to go is that, so games like VR Chat, that's like generated. The content is made by the
players,
users, right?
Players, yeah.
But that's like content which you can play. But there will come a time that people will make content to entertain, right?
Well, I mean, that's what they usually do. I mean, they already do that, don't they?
Yeah, I mean,
in VR Chat.
Well, they make content, but for YouTube, like for or TikTok, right? So you can watch the content on your smartphone.
Oh, like that,
yeah. So, but the content will one day come to your VR headset as well.
Oh yeah,
the new generation of doom scrolling in your headset to stand in your content.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the VR still has a long way to go, but the time will come when it's indeed like there are content creators making content for VR to be viewed in VR inside of the glasses or be experienced like they record it, but they probably record it as a VR scene that you are going to partake in. So it's not gonna be like you're watching it like some TikTok video where you're like. Like take some TikTok content where you're like dancing. You just look at the people dancing on screen. But if you would translate this to VR, you would be joining in on the dance along with the person who recorded the thing. Yeah. You know, that kind of stuff. I would imagine it would look like that. But then we come to the original premise, of course, of like what's free, what's for sale, and it's a reality. Because we're dealing now with a person who's mostly living in VR. So that's their reality, or that's what they mostly do. And now suddenly, they have to pay for their content, pay for their things. I mean, I'm not sure how different that is from the real world because we have to pay for almost everything. But this is like a new situation that we haven't really experienced yet. And it's like people like right now, VR Chat is mostly free. There's almost nothing you pay for it. But recently, like maybe 6 months ago or so, maybe, well, at least this year, VR Chat released an in-game store where you can buy like models and stuff directly from VR Chat, from inside the virtual world itself. You could buy directly.
Before it was for free. So
yeah, I mean it's completely optional. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy anything on there if you like it. But I mean, but that still is like that's like an extra thing that suddenly is like, oh, they're suddenly monetizing this thing more than they usually do. You know, they monetize in certain ways, of course, but now they're adding this. So it's like so now there's like this door open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like, as the topic suggests, they're like, you know, what's for sale? You know, the reality is for sale. The metaverse is for sale. How are they going to monetize this? How and who's making the money? That kind of stuff. I mean, the whole thing with the VR Chat store was that the creators of the models could put them on the store, and then they would take the VR Chat would take a cut, and the creator would take a cut, you know, of the profits.
Yeah.
That sounds fine and all, but the issue is that this is a classic corpo thing where they see that there are all these player-made markets, user-made markets all over the place, and they want to have a piece of it, you know. But they don't understand how the users use the product and how the users use the markets. So but they still want a piece of it. So the way they set this whole thing up, they clearly don't know how the users, the motivation of the VR chat users behind getting these models from these creators. They don't understand it, because otherwise you wouldn't design this thing the way they did, you know. Because the main thing with the VR chat models, especially the ones you buy, well, precisely the ones you buy, you pay money for. The thing is that they should be unique. People want a unique model that nobody else has. That's why they commission a creator to make a unique model for them. It's their identity, you know. So if you have a creator that puts up a model on the store, and if it's a popular model, suddenly, like, I don't know, 1 million people are buying it, and then suddenly some other users walking around with your model, and it's like, okay, what's going on, you know? I mean, have you ever been to a party and seen two girls who accidentally wore the same thing? You know, dudes would be like, hey, that's awesome, hey, look at that, we got the same thing. But girls are like, I can't believe it. You know, they're like, this can't happen, I can't believe this, we're the same thing, you know. It's suddenly this whole thing. So that's like part of the issue, where these companies, they have these platforms and they recognize these things, same as Facebook, and they fail to recognize why the users use these platforms and the way the users use these platforms. So suddenly the users have to pay for something. Oh, what the heck is this? Why you gotta pay? And then there's backlash because it's not a logical thing that they're asking or whatever, or something that goes against how the users use the platform. So yeah, now your entire reality is screwed up because these guys want the money. You know, it's like, okay, whatever. But they want their money in the dumbest way, because if they would know how the users use the platform, they would be smarter in monetizing it in ways that the users wouldn't find annoying. You know, that's the main problem.
So imagine if you spend 8 hours a day in VR,
Yeah.
who really owns your life?
Yeah, that's exactly, that goes into the like that goes into like what I just said. Like, suddenly the company does something, and then you realize that you're like, I don't know, it's kind of weird, because I've never really experienced this. I mean, the closest I've experienced was like when I quit playing World of Warcraft, but that was different. That wasn't because the company did something. That was more because I realized, oh, I'm just kind of like doing the same thing over and over. It's kind of whatever. It's kind of, so I just immediately quit. Or like when I stopped using Facebook, like where was that? Like 8 years ago or some shit. I was kind of like doom scrolling, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm doom scrolling, and I literally immediately uninstalled it from my phone right there. Yeah. Immediately. So it's like, this is like when the company changes something that is like detrimental to you, that causes you to like not like the product or whatever. So I mean, that's like the main problem. I mean, even the dumbest little things, like I know at work, suddenly Microsoft Teams changes the layout of some shit, and it's like, oh man, what is this? Why are we doing this now? Suddenly you have to like look around. Where was that setting again? I can't believe it. Why are they doing this? That stuff. That's the kind of thing we're talking about probably. But even worse, because you're like, I mean, we're talking about these virtual worlds where people like literally have their entire lives hanging around. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna feel a lot worse with suddenly let's say your avatar doesn't work because they changed the parameters of like how these things connect to the, you know, how these things are rigged or whatever, and now suddenly you have to dive into some kind of, you know, like configuration settings to reconfigure your avatar so it works, or maybe it doesn't work anymore because it's like it only works with an older version and you updated the software and all this annoying stuff, you know. So it's like, we deal with this normally already, but I would imagine it would be a lot worse when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, like Windows updating and you're suddenly the plugins you use on your whatever don't work because of some kind of Windows you know, version thing going on or some bullshit, you know, that kind of stuff. So we deal with this like in modern day, but it would be a lot worse when it's like VR. You're like on the IV 24/7, you're in the thing, and then suddenly software update and it breaks everything. You're like, oh, I can't believe it. Oh crap, you know. So who owns you then? Like you're literally, it's like
Yeah.
really bad at that point. So like, so yeah, I mean, you're literally kind of like beholden to the company in like the most extreme way that they hopefully they fix the issue, that kind of stuff. Way more than like these days, because these days if the tech doesn't work, you just like whatever, just go do something else, you know,
Yeah.
you know.
And again, like going back to the doom scrolling, but then the VR version, like I still have to think about this because all those apps they use their algorithm
Yeah,
to in order to keep you in their app as long as possible, right?
yeah, exactly.
Even though the app is free.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah. So at one point, like when it'll be more attractive to develop applications for VR and stuff.
yeah. They
Yeah.
they they will
Like
want to keep people in there long as possible if they still have the same
exactly.
mentality. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is extremely unhealthy.
Yep.
Like way more than your phone. It's
Yeah.
way worse than your phone. It's like holy crap. It's yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Then we are going into the Matrix, man.
yeah,
Plugged in
exactly. Yeah, you're gonna come
at
out
that
like,
point.
yeah, exactly. You're gonna come out like Neo on the other side, like naked and pale.
Yeah.
like
I mean,
like
you hope to be Neo, otherwise
Well,
you'll
I
be
mean,
like,
yeah. Well, okay, maybe not the Neo. One of the other guys, one of the grunts. You come out with no hair, like completely pale, like holy crap, malnourished. Uh, your muscles are atrophy. But it's like I would imagine there would be like laws against this kind of stuff because while telephones are kind of crazy, there's already like for example,
yeah,
Australia already made laws
yeah,
to stop kids from using phones, cell phones, and stuff
yeah,
like that, and there's several countries in Europe that are already also working on those types of laws. I think in the Netherlands there was also an advice from this commission that said they have to that you would have to do the same in the Netherlands as well. To disallow smartphone usage to kids, that kind of stuff. VR chat is gonna be a lot worse. It's gonna be like even crazier because
especially if
yeah,
your parents are like just letting you go on it,
yeah,
like
yeah.
without limit.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is with VR, there is one thing with VR is that the headsets are pretty expensive. Although, like your average phone is
Yo,
also fairly expensive, so it's like, well, I
exactly,
mean,
yeah,
what's the difference?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's
yeah,
like people say it's expensive, but actually these like what's the Oculus run you? Like what, 300, $400, something like that,
perhaps.
around that.
But it's also just a matter of time that you get like Chinese VR versions, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
cheap ones.
there's already several probably, but I
Yeah,
mean it's
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me that there already are like VR headsets for like 200 or even less, but it's with the technology reaches mass market like phones did, it's gonna change a lot of stuff, and
oh yeah,
we're gonna be seeing way more issues than with we've seen with phones, because phones you're kind of like still like out in the world, and it's not like it doesn't
hmm,
suck you in. VR,
yeah. If
you
you don't
are,
doom scroll, yeah,
yeah, but even then, you're still like in the train or whatever, or is sitting in a room, and then somebody walks up to you and whatever. It's like
yeah,
it's a bit different. But VR, you are like, especially if it's some kind of full dive thing, like in the Sword Art Online, where it's like completely like it. The technology of Sword Art Online is it mimics sleeping. You know, it paralyzes your body the same way sleeping paralyzes your body, and it activates the same areas of the brain to make you seize things, just like sleeping. So with that technology, you can stay logged in for days without even noticing, because your body is disconnected from your brain.
yeah.
So
And
that,
again, if yeah,
go ahead.
like if there are going to be worlds that which are more pleasant than real life,
Yeah,
and that'll make it more addictive for people to stay
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
I don't know if I told you the story, but I had one friend. She had like a VR headset, and she was actually, I would say, addicted to
Yeah,
VR
already. Yeah,
VR
yeah,
chat
yeah,
because she even told me that like she really had a hard time to take the VR headset off because she had such a good time in VR chat, better than in real life.
Yeah,
She had
exactly.
such a good hard time to go do groceries just because
Oh,
of this phenomenon.
yeah, exactly.
She even almost slept with it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So that means even the technology is like really kind of crappy right now. It's like hot, you sweat. It's like this heavy thing on your head. It's like, ugh. But even with the current state of the technology, that happens. Imagine when it's like, imagine
Yeah,
when it's like so light you actually don't even feel
yeah,
it on your head.
yeah,
Then what? Then that's gonna be
yeah,
really bad. That's gonna be
yeah,
bad, man. So it's like, and then we come back to the central question that we were discussing, like, who owns your life?
oh yeah,
You know, like suddenly these companies own your life a lot more
yeah,
than normally. You know, because in real life we have to pay for all this stuff we do. You know, we have to pay for our house, we have to pay for whatever. So who actually do you really own everything? You really own what you do. But even then, people have a sense of that they can just do whatever. There's you can do a lot of things without having to pay anybody. You know, you can walk. You know,
yeah,
you could go walking somewhere. Just go somewhere, whatever. Just go walk.
yeah.
You can't do that with these virtual worlds. I can't just start doing what you have to buy the headset first. You know,
Oh yeah,
you have to. There's some steps you have to do before you can do all this stuff. You know, so it's like, yeah, it's completely different. And when people really like have when people's lives are really taken over, then we'll be seeing a lot more of these issues happening. Way more than phones. Way more than phones.
yeah. And especially like the if we divide the poor versus the rich,
Yeah,
imagine that there
yeah,
will be like many kinds of VR headsets and stuff, but like different kinds of applications to go live in. I would say, so
yeah,
the wealthy they would live in curated utopias, and the rest they
yeah.
would like live in ad drenched dystopias and stuff.
Oh yeah. The wealthy will have zero ads, and all these poor people are like ads all over the place. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, it reminded me. I totally forgot about this movie, but Ready Player One is actually deals with this a bit. But they didn't do the whole ad apocalypse thing that we're talking about. But at the time when the book was written and when the movie came out, the whole ad apocalypse thing wasn't really a thing, you know. I mean, it was kind of starting up. We were kind of like starting up the entire idea of like, yeah, Facebook is free, but it's like you're the product and you're gonna get ads. But it wasn't as bad as now, you know. It wasn't in the mind of the people as bad as it is now. So that's the difference. So that's why you don't really see the whole ad thing in Ready Player One. It's not really visible, you know, the way you see it in like
Yeah.
Facebook now. You don't really see that.
I mean,
So
if
yeah,
they would remake Ready Player One, they would maybe definitely add some ads.
yeah, they would.
I remember in
Yeah,
like Wreck It Ralph, you still had those old school pop up screens and stuff.
yeah. Well, that's also kind of weird because Wreck-It Ralph wasn't even such an old movie, and they had like sometimes it feels like these movie makers are like 10 years behind on things. It's so weird. It's really
But
weird to
no,
see.
but I mean, it was aiming for the old school like Windows 89,
Oh
80 or
yes,
Windows XP pop ups, right? Like
yeah, true,
click
true.
here to go to play your casino stuff or something.
Oh yeah, true, true. That's true. But still, it's like, yeah, sometimes it's weird with that stuff. Yeah, but yeah, it's true. Yeah, so it's like if they remake Ready Player One, it's going to be a it's it's going to have a lot of ads. It's going to have a lot of like a lot of the more because like the guy who made the Oasis was like this benevolent nice guy or some shit, and he made the whole what's it called the whole rat race to get the prize. He made that whole thing, and it was like whoever wins this gets the entire company. It's like, are you insane? You know, there's no way. Imagine Mark Zuckerberg is like, I'm gonna retire. So yeah, I'm gonna make this whole puzzle, and you can whoever wins gets the entire company. That's not even legal. You can't even do that. It's like, what do you mean? There's like shareholders. There's like a board of directors. There's no way, that. So the movie has a lot of weird shit in it. It's like, what are you talking about? That kind of weird stuff that makes no sense. But that's because of the times. I mean, the book is like from 2008, 2009, something like that. I don't remember exactly the date, but the book is so then the movie, when did the movie come out? 2013, 2014, maybe, I don't know, maybe 2016. So it's like we were still kind of naive on the whole social media tech bro sector thing. So that's why they wrote that kind of stuff like that. It's like makes no sense. I mean, because if a company, because a single company owned the Oasis and made it. If a single company did that, holy crap, they would exploit it. It would be insane. The exploitation would be completely insane. I mean, in the Oasis they kind of hinted at some kind of exploitation, but really, I mean, whatever. It wasn't that bad, man. It's not like shit that happens. It's not like some kind of Shell or Nestle kind of thing, kind of exploitation. It wasn't that level stuff. So it's like, or at least maybe it was worse in the books, but in the movie it was like, yeah, it felt like your average evil kind of not even evil, kind of like semi annoying tech company.
I just googled something interesting. I was wondering, since we are talking about VR and stuff, how many VR users are there currently around the world?
Yeah,
It's already around 171 million.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty good. I mean, I remember when,
It's a lot more than you would expect, because
yeah,
the argument of you have to buy a VR headset. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's funny because like in 1995, I think there were 20 million internet users worldwide. So think about that. And now there's like 171 million VR users. So with those kinds of numbers, yeah, VR is here to stay. There's a lot of people say, I see people talk around the internet like VR is going away, VR is gonna be like bad technology. But with these kinds of users, these kinds of numbers, nah, man, it's only gonna grow. It's only gonna keep growing.
Yeah.
There's no way, because the internet was also like when I started using the internet, there were 20 million people online. It's like, this is, what are you talking about? Now there's billions, so whatever. So it's like, yeah, that's a whatever.
And yeah, I can understand, like, people are still like being critics about VR because it feels and looks still a bit like gimmicky, and the
Yeah,
games are not like, well, the thing is, like, if you think VR, you think about video games, and yeah, people still think the games that that are currently available for VR
yeah.
are also still like not triple A quality.
No, they're not. No, no,
Most
no.
most of them, right?
Yeah, most of
I
them
mean, there
aren't.
are some, but not that you would expect that people would buy a VR headset as they would buy a PS5 or something because of the triple A games
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
specifically.
there.
Because I can also imagine VR is also used for other real life applications, just as, I don't know, surgery stuff, like flying drones and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there are companies out there that use VR to like do product presentations, that kind of stuff. You can like design a thing, and before you make it, you can like have the customer walk around it, that kind of stuff. They do that a lot. That's something that I've seen a lot, and it works really well. You just have products, you just kind of prop it inside the world that people can walk around it. That's pretty good stuff. But yeah, it's like there's like a couple of like AAA games in the VR world, like Half-Life Alyx, for example. That's one of them.
Oh yeah.
But mostly it's kind of like these crappy clunky games where you like have floaty hands, and you have like a sword or something, a bow and arrow or a gun or something. It's like
Yeah.
you're kind of like,
But
you know
then again, it's very comparable with how games are for smartphones. Then
yeah,
those are usually also like quite clunky and stuff, or gimmicky.
yeah, 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 exactly. But
It's just a matter of time.
there are a few games on smartphones that really work well and utilize the smartphone touchscreen well. But most of them are like just kind of tapping. They're just like button pressing.
Farmville.
Yeah, so you're basically just tapping buttons in those games. You're not really doing any complex movements or anything like that. So that's like phone games are kind of like that way. Yeah, so but VR has a long way to go when it comes to interfacing with us because the eyes interface is bad, the hands interface is bad. It's all clunky, it's all blah blah. People get seasick because
Yeah, I do.
the
I do get
yeah
motion sick. Yeah.
yeah motion sick because you're moving but your body doesn't feel like it's moving, so it's like this weird. It's really annoying. So yeah, those are the issues with VR. And I would say the main issue, the number one issue that they need to solve is motion sickness.
Yeah.
If they can stop,
I think they're
motion
working
sickness,
on it.
yeah,
I think they're working on it by getting a higher resolution and the frame rate.
yeah,
That was the
yeah,
word of factors. Yeah, that make people less or more
yeah,
motion sick.
yeah. That is a fairly big factor, but there's still a lot of people that still get motion sick because simply by the movement, because there's a disconnect between your brain seeing that you're moving but you're not moving, and it's like, oh, what's going on? So I've seen some research that try to tackle it, like have the VR. On a hardware level, design the VR glasses in such a way that it prevents that issue. But that is really the number one issue in VR. Because, for example, if you go to like these VR experience games, you've ever been to those? You wear a VR headset and you're like running around in this basically an empty room. But
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
pretty fun actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
those things you don't get motion sickness.
No.
Because you are
But-
running around in the world as you know.
I mean, when I took that VR headset off, I was very disorientated.
Yeah, it feels like
it felt so weird.
Yeah, it feels like when you've been skateboarding or skating all day, rollerblading, skating all day, and then you take them off, or ice skating, you take them off,
yeah.
your legs feel weird.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like that, like holy crap! I take them off, like reality switching.
Yeah.
But people don't get motion sickness from those because you are moving, and it's translating exactly the movement that you're doing in real life is being projected on the game. So the motion sickness is gone. So motion sickness is mostly really just about the brain not understanding that the body is moving and the body is stationary, and that's like the disconnect there. That's where most of the motion sickness come from.
But still, I think they're working.
Yeah, they're working on it.
And on this note, I'm really wondering, like, dear listeners, what is your vision? What is your idea about VR? I'm really curious about that. Please share your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah, share please.
And support us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. We will very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Later.